You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy birthday to the Aries of the world, including, I just realized I don't have this pulled up here, but we have to acknowledge that Mariah Carey is an Aries. We have to acknowledge it because, I mean, it's just full diva energy, main character energy, right? Quentin Tarantino, also an Aries. Makes sense why he makes some pretty aggressive films. Fergie is an Aries too. Brenda Song, Nathan Fillion. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Elizabeth Mitchell. Lots of Jessie J. Lots of actors still coming up during Aries season. So if you're an Aries, if you know someone celebrating their birthday, let us know so we can celebrate them too. Nikki is here. Hey, Rachel. Hi, Belen. How is the week starting for you? We are here just in time to talk about the first major transit of the week, a conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter that's happening overnight tonight. I didn't know Brenda Song was an Aries. It makes sense now though, right? It makes sense. I feel like especially her character in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, any Disney Channel kids out there, definitely Aries vibes. Let's get a check on the current energy though. The sun, of course, is in Aries. The moon is in Gemini. And when the sun is in a fire sign, the moon is in an air sign, they're working together very nicely with one another. It's like the air of the Gemini moon is fanning the flames of the Aries sun. So we have the moon and sun in complementary signs. And the Gemini moon has been fairly quiet today, but like I said, if you're joining me live, we're here just in time to talk about a lot of the activation that's happening tonight. So let's get into it. Starting with this conjunction that we're coming into right now. So I'll pull up the chart and you can see that both Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury is not actually quite there yet, almost to the exact point of Jupiter in the sky. We'll jump ahead a few hours here, see if we can get Mercury to hit the 18-degree mark, and there it is. So 18 degrees of Aries is where this conjunction is playing out right now. If you have any of your own planets hanging out at 18, really 15 to 20 degrees of Aries, or 15 to 20 degrees of any of the cardinal signs, any of the fire signs, that's an indication that you are going to be feeling this conjunction a little more strongly, feeling its effects more strongly than maybe the average person. I also encourage you, if you are a Virgo rising, a Gemini rising, or a Sagittarius rising, to take a look at where this is playing out in your chart, because Mercury or Jupiter are your ruling planets, depending on what your rising sign is. So if either of those planets are your ruling planets, again, you are going to be feeling the effects of this conjunction a little bit more strongly than maybe other people might. Now, what does this mean? A conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter. The last time we saw this, I believe, was last March. So it's been about a year or so since we saw a conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter. And a conjunction is like a blending of these two planets' energies. So Mercury is the planet of communication, of intellect, of our mindset, of short-term travel. Jupiter is the planet of long-term travel, expansion, growth, optimism, good fortune. So in general, we benefit from a positive mindset under this conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter. We want plans to feel bigger. Ideas are going to feel bolder, especially because Mercury and Jupiter are conjunct in Aries, this very bold fire sign. So there's almost this spontaneity that might come along with this, like, let's just book the trip now, or let's like plan out the rest of our lives all at once, right? I would encourage you to keep a journal handy, have a close friend, on standby, or send your ideas to someone else over text, write them down. But this is happening right around midnight tonight, Pacific time, so overnight. Late tonight, you'll probably be feeling this, maybe first thing tomorrow morning as well. Mercury moves pretty quickly, so its transits are fairly fast, but just over the course of the beginning of this week, big ideas might come through. You don't necessarily have to act on them right this very moment. You don't have to. So even just writing them down could be the action you take that just bookmarks them. Unless you're like, it's go time. I'm feeling like I want to make a move and it feels aligned. Ask yourself, am I just doing this because I'm looking for excitement in this moment? Or does this really feel like the right time to book the trip, make the plan, make the move? If you're needing a little nudge, this conjunction could be it. But there's also a tendency to we need to do something about it now. Or if a big idea drops in, how are we going to immediately put it into action? And this is just your reminder that you have plenty of time. Just because you have an idea doesn't mean you have to execute it right this very moment. There's this immediacy to this transit. This conjunction is in my 7th house and will be squaring my Uranus-Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. Mine too, actually, now that you say it. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, Rachel. Noticing where this conjunction is playing out in your chart, what area of your life it's activating, that's going to be really helpful. But pay attention late tonight to any little nuggets of wisdom or downloads that pop in. Might even feel a little bold or in your face or aggressive with Mercury conjunct Jupiter. It could be like, this is an idea I can't ignore any longer, or a message I'm receiving that I can't ignore any longer. You also might have some spontaneous conversations or really bold conversations under this conjunction, big conversations, major conversations. It could feel like the things you're talking about are really big right now. So just noticing what's coming up, writing it down, talking it out, but knowing that you don't have to do anything with it right this moment. Good fortune is on our side for the most part. Mercury conjunct the planet of fortune. The ideas that are coming through are probably bringing good fortune. So write them down. Keep them in your back pocket. Just know that you don't have to do anything with them just yet. Interesting. This transit is in my partner's 1st house, and he ended up having a really tough conversation with his mom. It's like what we're talking about feels like it's big. And not only does it feel like it's bringing good fortune, but Jupiter is expansion and growth. So expanding conversations that push us along our growth journey could be happening at the beginning of this week as well. Paying attention to what's coming up in our dreams. If you have really aggressive or bold dreams, that could be, Mercury coming through your subconscious and kind of hey, this is the thing you aren't really paying attention to in your waking life. So, or maybe you are paying attention, but it's just coming through even louder. This also just feels loud. Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Aries feels like loud conversations. Not necessarily an argument, but it could be just whatever message you're receiving or conversation you're having is very loud and in your face, very bold. And with Chiron, there's healing too. Yes, Chiron, Rachel, great point, is very close by still. We just had the conjunction between Mercury and Chiron on Sunday, I believe. Yeah. So Chiron's influence is bringing this potential to talk about the wounds that are being aggravated in order to find growth and find healing. So that could be a big theme that's still coming up as well too, is growth and healing and facing conversations, facing our thoughts head on. Even like the thoughts in your head could feel like they're louder, like they're yelling at you. That was something we talked about yesterday. So noticing these big ideas, big thoughts, maybe some breakthroughs, some realizations that are happening. It feels like big realizations, big plans, big conversations. So it's a powerful moment for sure. And we get a little bit of a lull, just kind of peeking ahead through the rest of the week. We get a little bit of a lull until Thursday, and that's when the pace is probably going to pick back up again as far as major transits. We've got a lot going on Thursday, so we'll have, let's see, Venus conjunct Uranus on Thursday and Mars trine Saturn. So this could be like a precursor as far as the information that's coming in, the wisdom that you're receiving, the conversations you're having for a big change in relationships when Venus is coming into this conjunction with Uranus on Thursday, or an opportunity to step into a leadership role as Mars harmonizes with Saturn. It's like some big moves are probably going to happen later in the week, or opportunities even, or changes. And so pay attention to what's coming through now. The universe sets us up with the information we need when we need it. I truly believe that. So if you're having some big realizations that are hard to ignore, it could be the exact information you need to know to prepare you for whatever the universe brings later this week. Yeah, because Venus and Uranus are only 3 degrees away from each other right now. And by Thursday, Venus will be right on top of Uranus. And of course, we'll talk about that more in depth then. But you might notice as the week goes on as well, a little bit of disruption to current relationships, to money, changes with our finances, changes in our partnerships coming up this week as well. Change isn't always bad. Uranus might make it feel uncomfortable, but it's here to help us grow and innovate. So I think Mercury and Jupiter conjunct at the beginning of the week is a really beautiful opportunity to lean into a growth mindset. Jupiter and Mercury, growth mindset. It's like perfect. If we're willing to see the world through that lens, how are we growing? What are we learning? How are we expanding? I think it might make it easier to navigate any changes or road bumps or disruptions that come up later in the week. Now let's talk about the Gemini moon. So the moon moved into Gemini over the weekend. And first thing this morning, the moon made a sextile to Jupiter. So Monday morning might have felt like a little peppy for you. This was at 4 a.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. Eastern time, maybe some sweet dreams you woke up from. But when the moon forms a sextile to Jupiter, of course, this was a ways back on the chart, but it just helps us to lean into optimism and see the positive. So that's kind of how we started our day, which we'll take that. That's nice. And then the moon has sort of been in a lull all day. The moon in Gemini hasn't really been doing much. Hi, Corby. Hey, Diane. That's not to say it hasn't been a day of activity. The moon in Gemini, I just think our mental state's probably pretty busy today with Mercury coming into a conjunction with Jupiter. And then when the moon is in Gemini, we're processing our emotions through our brain, through our mind. So not only do we have big thoughts and a lot of mental activation happening, but the moon is in Gemini, really like bringing our emotions through our mind as well. Our brain might feel like it's on overdrive today. Here's where things could hit a snag, or where circuits could kind of fry if we are thinking too much or putting too much, moving too much energy through our mind, if that makes sense. So really what we're coming into right now is a square between the moon and Neptune. So let's see, we'll come back a little bit, and I think, yeah, you can see it here, the moon squaring Neptune. When the moon squares Neptune, it can bring confusion, disillusion. There's like this general fogginess. It's hard to really decipher how we feel. We might even feel especially sensitive when the moon is squaring Neptune. I just realized I don't think all these lights are on either. Oh, maybe they were. Speaking of the moon squaring Neptune, just being confused or having to do a double take. That's kind of par for the course, and that's what we're starting to feel. So yes, that's another big reason I say don't take action on the ideas that are coming through right now, because we might not be seeing the full picture clearly with the moon squaring Neptune. Jot them down, allow yourself to think big and have these grand thoughts and ideas. But again, with the moon squaring Neptune, it's almost like we're seeing through a fog, or there's sort of blinders on whatever is coming in. Yeah, yes. Diane, this is perfect. She says, woke up tired today, felt like so many insights these past few days, crazy synchronicities. I've been seeing tons of angel numbers and synchronicities too. Felt like so many intuitive downloads pointing me in the right direction, ideas, inspiration, not really clarity, just tons of ideas. Yes, this is the energy that we're working with right now. Lots of inspiration. When the moon squares Neptune, it can be like almost like smacking you in the face with inspiration. Like, but what if this? We'll let our mind wander here. Let's fall down this rabbit hole. But again, we're not super grounded or rooted. None of the transits today are grounding us. We've got this conjunction in a fire sign. We've got this moon in an air sign. And then the air moon is squaring Neptune in a water sign. We're all mind, emotions, and this like ball of fiery energy that wants to do something with it. But really, there's not a lot that is grounding us and helping us pull all of this inspiration down into reality and make it concrete. So yeah, Nikki says, I was a little all over the place today. The moon's in Gemini. We're a little flighty emotionally. We're kind of all over the place, and that's okay. Allowing yourself to just be in that space of like, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place today. Writing down, making a brain dump list can be really helpful. And then returning to that list when you are feeling a little more grounded and able to take a practical look, do a little edit of your ideas, if that makes sense. Yeah, Nikki said, I was kind of in my head, not my body today. And with Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Aries, there is this like desire to move with the ideas, right? I know I keep coming back to this, but it's like that spark of inspiration, that big idea that drops in. And again, just we're coming into the first quarter moon in the next couple of days. There will be an opportunity, but remember, there's no rush. There's no rush. Everything is happening exactly on time, exactly how it's supposed to. Just trust in the timing of everything. And if you're feeling emotionally or like your nervous system is like, I got to do something now, like just that impulsivity, that's probably not you acting from a place of groundedness. So write down the ideas. You don't need to do anything with them. Yeah. Diane says, I'm loving feeling inspired though. Absolutely. And Mercury's your ruling planet too. So lots of fun ideas coming through after feeling depleted and discouraged for a while. This is the spark that's needed. And it is a spark, right? Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Aries, the fire sign. It is like the spark of a big idea. It's just not the full execution or plan for the idea just yet, I don't think. Maybe it is for you. And maybe you can use this spark to put ideas into action. Always trust yourself. You are your own best astrologer. So notice where this is playing out in your chart. Is it connecting to any other planets? Maybe you do want to move with the idea, but if you're doing it out of scarcity, like I got to do this now, it's probably not in alignment to move. Oh, Rachel said I had a huge headache this afternoon and just emotional. Lots of mental energy. Yeah. Sending you love. It's okay if you're not 100% all the time. Take care of yourself first. And it's interesting that, the moon is coming into a square with Neptune as this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is really coming into its peak too, because again, it's like these big ideas that are clouded in a fog of confusion. Or the other thing I will say, it would be very easy to like buy into a fantasy or subscribe to like, yes, this is what we're doing, and just run with it without fully seeing everything you need to know to really execute this idea to the best of your ability. Oh, I'm so glad that resonates for you. Thanks, Diane. Tomorrow is going to be a fairly low-key day as well. So I just kind of want to peek into tomorrow and see what's going on. I'll just pull up the chart here. And overnight tonight, so we'll just jump ahead here, around, let's see, 3, 4 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks for hanging with me as I figure this out. I lied. 6 a.m. Pacific time, so 9 a.m. Eastern time. Early tomorrow morning, the moon is going to come into a conjunction with Mars in Cancer. That might be the time to move on this idea, right? When the moon is conjunct Mars, we're waking up with the energy. We're waking up with the drive. We're waking up with the motivation. And we want to take action. We might be a little reactive, a little aggressive. So making sure that we have an outlet for any excess energy can be really important when the moon is conjunct Mars. And this is right after the moon moves into Cancer. That will happen right around, let's see, the moon moves into Cancer around 3:30 in the morning. So overnight tonight, the moon moves into its home sign, which we absolutely love when the moon is in Cancer. And that can also bring us into our intuition a little bit more tomorrow morning. It's almost like this window with the moon in Cancer, especially the first quarter moon that we're coming into, to kind of digest, as the moon in Cancer puts the emphasis on our stomach, digest whatever ideas came in, like really tap into our intuition. Is this the right time to move? And if you hear a yes, trusting your intuition to move first thing tomorrow morning on that idea, or maybe just to take one step. It's the first quarter moon tomorrow, so it's the time to move forward, to take action. And that can just look like taking one step to maybe just sharing that idea that came through with someone else. Maybe just writing out a little plan of action, remembering that all good things take time and you don't have to do everything at once. So yeah, the moon will come into a conjunction with Mars, and then shortly after it will actually trine Saturn at like 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And that can help us ground a little bit. Even with Saturn in Pisces, it can help us slow down, be mature, be practical, be responsible about how we want to execute the idea that came through, or even the seed that was planted under the new moon. In fact, speaking of the new moon and the astrological new year, because we've had so much Aries activation, this conjunction of Mercury and Jupiter in Aries might be that aha moment, or that big idea that's like, oh, that's how I'm going to get that seed to grow that I planted on the new moon. Whatever the intention was that you had under the new moon just last week, this conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter could reveal some information that allows you to make that happen, to kind of water the seed or grow the plant that you planted under the new moon. So pay attention, keep a journal handy. You might have some great sparks of insight that come through and show you what the next step is to take under the first quarter moon in Cancer. I also love that we have a first quarter moon in Cancer, because it really does feel like moving from our intuition, like checking into our emotions and our body before we move, rather than just being that super headstrong Aries energy of like running full force. It's like, okay, how do we feel about that? How does that feel in our body if we like really sit with it? Like, how would taking this action feel? Okay. Are there any signals my body is sending me? Like really tapping into our body's wisdom with the moon in Cancer. And that first quarter moon will be exact around, let's see, it'll be exact around 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. So we'll be coming into an action phase, certainly by tomorrow night, maybe even Wednesday. You just got like a huge preview of Tuesday's forecast. So there you go. You're prepared for tomorrow as well. But I really do think we'll be feeling the effects of this into tomorrow. So it might just help you tune into the timeline or tune into your own intuition before you run headfirst into that idea that pops into your mind. The moon in Gemini, Nikki says, it's in your head. I like the Cancer moon better, not as detached. Yeah, it's a little more embodied, right? And the moon is at home in Cancer, so it is like a homecoming to our emotion. We tend to be a little bit more embodied with the moon in Cancer, a little less in our head. It's like bringing all that mental activation back down into the body. Hi, Nick. Happy to have you here. So let's come back to our affirmation of the day, which is I honor the ideas that come to me. And I think this is important. And the word honor was very intentional here because I truly believe the information that comes to you, it comes to you in divine timing. Whatever you need to know will come to you when you need to know it. And part of what I've learned, at least, because I'm totally someone that gets an idea and just wants to immediately run with it and put everything else on the back burner. But when you have an idea that's big or feels really important, like you might receive under this conjunction, I think it's really important to honor it by letting yourself sit with it, seeing, are there any more pieces of information about this that need to come in? How do I still feel about this after a few days? Is this something I really want to pursue? If it feels like something big, a big plan you want to make, a big trip you want to book, a big idea you want to execute, make sure to honor that idea, because I do believe that it came to you for a reason. So how can you best execute it? How can you honor it? By just digesting it and letting it sink in and letting it, like ruminating on it just a little bit. Oh, thank you, Diane. Yeah, because it is so important. I think a lot of times these ideas that we receive are like their own little spirits, that want to be birthed into the world. Every project, every endeavor kind of has its own energy. So how can we, especially with the moon moving into Cancer, how can we mother that? How can we foster it and nurture it and honor it by giving it the time and space it needs to be fertilized and to grow in a healthy, sustainable way? Haste makes waste. Yes, love that. I've never heard that, but I'm definitely going to use that from now on. Thank you. Diane says, yes, all the ideas that come to me always float into my head and feel like they come at the perfect time and they come from a divine source. Beautiful, beautiful. They're always so intentional and purposefully perfect that they must be divine. I love how this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is showing up for you. It's just, I feel like it's so perfect. And again, we benefit from a positive mindset, maybe even a little overly optimistic during this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. And that's okay too. But that's why I keep reminding you, pump the brakes a little. Haste makes waste. Like Nick said, don't trash your idea that comes in by trying to move on it too quickly. Or even making important decisions. Yeah, it might feel like you're making big decisions under this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. Embrace the information that you are getting and don't act from a place of fear and insecurity. There is this headstrong confidence with this conjunction playing out in Aries. We love confidence. But again, there's also this restlessness, and being in that state of I've got to move now is kind of being in a scarcity mindset. Like if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. You've got time. There's no scarcity of time. We don't have to worry or fear or be insecure about how long it's taking us to get to where we want to go, to bring the idea into reality. It's all happening in perfect timing. Okay, let's finish up with a card pull from the Work Your Light deck. One of my favorite decks. This one has just been calling to me, and it's been a little bit since we pulled from it. So as always, this is your time to ask any final questions, share any final reflections, and let me know. The card on the bottom of the deck is take a break, life's work. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. It just felt like that was definitely yelling at me, and maybe it was meant for some of you too. Sometimes that bottom card on the deck shows itself for a reason. But we will shuffle up and we will ask the universe what we need to know. Maybe that spark of insight comes through the message that we receive in this card pull, or maybe you have a question of your own, and this is your time to really sit with that question. And as we take a deep breath and release, ask the cards, ask the universe to reveal to you any other insights that might be helpful. All right, here we go. Let's take the deepest breath we've taken all day. Beautiful gift you can give yourself at any moment. A nice deep breath from the bottom to the top. Here we go. Breathing in. Hold it and let it go. What do we need to know? Yes. The card we got was yes. Just say yes. Okay. If that's not a Mercury, Jupiter conjunction in Aries, I don't know what is. Just say yes. All right, let's see what the guidebook says. I think we pulled this one recently. Yep. All the guidebook says is just yes, 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 over and over again. Don't overthink it. Just say yes. Well, maybe this is spirit telling me not to be so cautious. If you got a great idea, move with it in the moment. Just say yes to it. But also remember that there's no rush. You can say yes to an idea by simply writing it down. You can say yes, but give me a few days to start acting on it. But what would happen? Maybe the message is, what would happen if you said yes to the big ideas that are coming through for you, to the sparks of insight that you and you only are receiving from the universe, from God, from spirit? What would happen if you said yes? Being in the optimist mindset comes naturally with Mercury conjunct Jupiter. So what would happen if you just said yes to whatever's coming through for you? Yeah, that's totally what it reminds me of. Yes Man, the movie with Jim Carrey and Zooey Deschanel. Totally. The card is calling me out. I realized over the weekend that I've been putting in so much time dedicating myself and my energy in certain areas that have not benefited, and reevaluated the treadmill mindset kept me going blindly on a path of go, go, go in a direction I thought was right. And now I'm listening to the intuitive messages, trying to have faith in a new direction. Yeah, and I love that this card came up too, because is it a full body yes? That's something you might have heard. Like, if it's not a full F yes, it's an F no. Or if it's not a full body yes, it's a full body no. But with the moon moving into Cancer overnight, I think that's a tool we can use to really ask, is it a yes? Like, feel in your body. How does my body feel if I think about saying yes to this idea? Do I get excited, or do I feel like depleted and drained by it? Your body is an instrument. Your body and your intuition can kind of tell you, is this the right time? How do I feel about this? So checking in with your intuition. Are you getting a yes from your intuition? Then move with it. Why not? See what happens. If it's not a full F yes, then maybe hold off. Maybe just jot it down and save it for a rainy day. But also, what would happen if you did say yes to what feels like it's supposed to be a yes? What would happen if you just let yourself go there? That's where the magic lies. Rachel, you're sweet. You can always book a reading with me through the QR code over here. It's hard to say without looking at your full chart, but the card that came through as you asked that question about your love life, what would happen if you just said yes? What would happen if you said yes to dating, said yes to putting yourself out there? Or you're asking, I want to know if my intuition is right. Well, yes, your intuition is right. There's the answer for you. A great example of how we can ask individual questions of the cards and see what comes through for each of us. If you found this card pull, if you found this live stream, there's no coincidence. You were meant to hear this message. Absolutely, no problem, Rachel. You never know unless you try. Yeah, what would happen if you just said yes to that idea that feels exciting to you? All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this episode of Transits Today. I wish you a very magical evening full of lots of insights and ideas, and I can't wait to see what Mercury and Jupiter bring all of us tonight during their conjunction. I'm not sure if I'll stream tomorrow. We will see. I did go through pretty much the full forecast, so yeah, we'll see. I'm feeling it out. I will check in with my intuition when the moon moves into Cancer in the morning and see, is it a yes? Because if it's not an F yes, it might just be a no tomorrow. So I will see you later this week. Absolutely. We've got some big transits coming up, definitely on Thursday. On Wednesday, we'll be talking about a lot of that energy as well. And who knows, maybe I'll come on tomorrow. We'll see if it's a yes. But I hope that you are all enjoying your Monday. Thank you for that reminder, Rachel. It's okay to take a break if you need to. It's a new season. It's Aries season. So we're just getting started. Every day is an opportunity to reevaluate, right? Especially as an entrepreneur, as someone who runs my own business. I'm like, where do I want to go today? How do I want to shift my business today? So we will see. But coming on here, chatting with you all always makes me feel so much better. And it's truly so helpful for me. So I love getting all of your reflections and your insights, and it helps me make sense of the current energy too. So I appreciate you all being here. For each and every one of you who continue to show up for yourself, to show up for this community, I am so grateful. And if you're new here, welcome. Please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can keep these forecasts coming for free. And yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you when I see you. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.